What's going on, YouTube, rovers, resonators, and gotcha gamblers? It is your boy WTF Mikey here, and today I'm going to be giving you the only echo farming guide you need. After you're done watching this video, you should have a proper understanding about how echoes work and how to farm them to maximize your resonator's potential. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So to start off, it is very important to understand where your account currently stands. And what exactly I mean by that is, are you actually ready to be farming echoes? That is the first question you should be asking yourself, because there are specific echoes that you want to be farming for, which are 5-star or gold echoes. These are the only types of echoes that you want to be farming for your resonators to maximize their potential. So for my very first tip, you must get to databank level 15 and get golden echo drops, or else there is no point in building your characters and wasting your resources. The biggest drawback in not focusing on farming level 5 echoes is the max level cap and how much substats you can put on that singular echo. So for example, a rank 3 or a blue echo can only be leveled up to a max level of 15 and only can get 3 substats, which will ultimately leave the resonator that you are currently building on a cap of how much damage or how much stats and value they can get out of the echo. Now, of course, where everybody suffers the most is actually being able to obtain rank 5 leveled echoes. So I'm going to be giving you a couple tricks that I did to get to databank level 15 faster than normal. So by far, one of my favorite things to do is when I have nothing to use my wave plates for, which also regen over time, I use my wave plates on the task field drops because it gives me a number of echoes at a singular time, so that way it can increase my databank level quicker. Now, I would personally only use the wave plates that you have currently available and wait for them to regen to do this option. I would not use extra resources to gain extra wave plates so that we can force this process through, because this is very randomized and sometimes the echoes that you get aren't the ones that you need. I would also like to mention that from time to time, Kuro Games likes to do double event drops. For example, the reason why I'm mostly farming Tacit Field right now is because it's double echo drops currently. And let me tell you, it really helped my databank level out when I was doing this, because it brought me from databank level 17 to 18. And that alone was just for me trying to create this video for you guys. I wasn't even focusing on it. Yeah, so I'd recommend each time there's a double drop in a certain area that requires wave plates, you take advantage of those double echo drops or XP material drops, and you definitely go full send on it. Now, another thing that you could do that's quite efficient is actually go into co-op mode with randoms or maybe friends. Now, don't be ashamed. Maybe you are one of those people where you are the only person in your friend group that's playing Wuthering Waves. And if that's you, or maybe you don't have anybody to currently play with, you could join my community Discord. Link is going to be pinned in the comment section below, where you can find many people to play with and team up with to grind echoes and make that process faster. Or you can even just come kick it, because there's a whole bunch of different gacha channels and lots of different discussions and different things to do here. Now, another thing that I did to achieve databank level 15 is I used the data merge feature. The data merge feature is basically an RNG based way to farm echoes by merging old and unwanted echoes together to create a new echo to get your databank level up, or to use towards a resonator if the substats and main stats are actually useful for that character. Now, as I said before, this is RNG based, but if you are getting rid of green, blue, or purple echoes to try to get your databank level up, it's not really a waste, because ultimately you want your resonators to have all 5-star or golden echoes. Now, the echo gallery is really useful to use, and you should be using this almost 99% of the time when you are trying to achieve databank level 15. The echo gallery will pretty much tell you which echoes you need to farm, and you could actually use this gallery to track the echoes in certain regions of the map. This tip is going to be extremely useful and extremely important for when you're done doing the RNG based tips that I gave you before, because during your grind and getting databank level 15, there's going to be a point where you need to get specific echoes because the RNG stuff isn't working anymore. So using the echo gallery, you could track down specific echoes that you need to get that last edge that you need to start obtaining those golden echoes. Although the detect feature is really useful in finding where those specific echoes are, it could actually be inconsistent. You could be wasting time doing this. So if you want to up the pace and make that grind even quicker, I'm going to give you another tip. So what I do is I use the echo gallery, then find the specific echo that I need to farm, and then I go on a Wuthering Waves interactive map. On the interactive map, I can select that specific echo, see where it's mostly populated at, then go to that location by using a fast travel, and then farming it until I get that echo drop that I need. So for this example, I'm choosing the Havoc Warrior. I found it on the interactive map and find out where it's mostly populated at, then went on to Wuthering Waves and used my actual map to fast travel to the location where I can find most of the Havoc Warriors. And then upon doing my farming, I was able to obtain the Havoc Warrior 5-star or golden echo. So I find doing it this way way more or less time consuming, because doing it with the track feature, it will only give you the nearest echo and where it's located, and it will show you one by one, and sometimes you don't even get that echo because you went into a least populated version of the map where that echo is located at, ultimately making you travel more and spending more time trying to farm that echo. So at first glance, this could be scary because there's a whole bunch of elements and a whole bunch of different echoes, and it can be kind of confusing. So with that said, all echoes come with their own echo skill and do different things when you transform into them, providing different aid to your team composition. On top of that, pairing echoes of the same element will provide extra damage in that element alongside other echo pairs that will provide extra support for your team compositions and different types of buffs. Or ultimately, what the term for this is called the Sonata effect. In this video, I am currently building Yinlin, so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for echoes with the void element so I can enhance the output of my Yinlin's electro damage. Each resonator is given 5 slots where echoes could fit into with a cost rank of 12 out of 12 once you get to databank level 15. Now, in no means am I a scientist or a mathematician and argue as far as what setup works best as far as your 4 cost, 3 cost, 2 cost, or 1 cost goes. So I'm just gonna stick with the generic 4-3-3-1-1 setup, which if you're confused means you have 1 4 cost echo, 2 3 cost echoes, and 2 1 cost echoes. Feel free to take this as an example if you are a beginner and you don't understand this concept. It's also important to know that the only echo that matters as far as the one that you transform into is your first echo slot. That echo slot is your main echo slot, while the other 4 are like piece holders. Piece holders that give you different stats to help buff up your current resonator that you are building. Now, it's very important that you have a proper understanding on how to build your resonators up using echoes. A couple ways you can do this is you can watch amazing guide makers like myself or other guide makers out there on YouTube, or there's a bunch of reliable websites out there that have a bunch of resonator character builds that can help you out in the long run. It is also very important to understand that resonators in a proper team composition are divided up into 3 roles. The first role being your main DPS or your main damage dealer, the second role being your hybrid resonator or your sub DPS, and your third role being your main support resonator. So to put it simply, for your main damage dealer or your DPS resonator, you want to be focusing on damage dealing main stats and substats. And for me personally, when it comes to my hybrid or sub DPS resonator, I do focus on damage dealing stats, but I also try to focus on stats that will help support my main DPS in dealing more damage. Like energy regeneration, for example, will help my hybrid resonator gain her ultimate faster to help my main DPS resonator. And the way this works is a process called rotations, but I'm not going to really get much into that because that's not what this video is about. But to put it in a short version, your main DPS resonator is called your on-fielder, and your hybrid resonator, who's considered your off-fielder, is there to help your on-fielder, or aka your main DPS, deal more damage. And of course, the support resonator is self-explanatory as they spend the least amount of time on the field giving your teammates heals and buffs of all sorts. Now, of course, you don't have to exactly play this way, but this is the way you maximize team compositions and Wuthering Waves. Now, I'm going to be quickly building Baizha as an example so you guys can have a proper understanding of what it's like to build a support resonator as opposed to a DPS resonator. Now, I don't have the proper 4 cost echo for my main slot echo as far as Baizha goes, because using the Lampy echo is more for a DPS resonator for Glacio. Now, the 4 cost echo that I would use on Baizha, Verena, or Jiangsheng would probably be Bellborn, because Bellborn as your 4 cost echo has an echo skill that provides lots of buffs that's really good for support resonators. But the type of Bellborn that I would want, because all echoes come in different elements when you do farm them, I would want the element of Rejuvenating Glow, or of course Baizha specifically. Now, with that said, we're going to be following the 4-3-3-1-1 rule and selecting 2 more Freezing Frost element echoes, because Baizha is Glacio and we want her to get that extra Glacio damage boost, although it doesn't really matter because she's going to be barely on the field as far as her role goes. With that said, because she's barely on the field, typically you actually don't have to go into just making her Glacio. Now, personally, I'm doing 3 Freezing Frost and 2 Rejuvenating Glow because that's what I got for echoes at the moment. But if I really wanted to, I do have the option of making all my echoes Rejuvenating Glow. And if I did do that, upon Baizha healing, it would increase the attack damage of my entire team, which is perfect for a support role like hers because she's barely going to be on the field. So ultimately, that's a good example of how I can use my support resonators to help buff my main DPS or main damage dealer. Now, I spent quite some hours today trying to get a really good echo drop so I can showcase it for you guys. And of course, because I need a better main echo for my Yinlin because it's time I built her already. So after farming Thundering Memphis for quite some time, I actually got 2 really good starter stats as far as my main stats go for Thundering Memphis. Actually, let me correct myself. Maybe 1 good main stat. The flat attack, in my opinion, could have been a little bit better, but it is what we got. So when rolling for substats, I only like to upgrade my echo to level 15 because there's a good chance that this might be a scrapped echo. And in Wuthering Waves, resources are really scarce, so I really don't want to waste any resources on an echo that I'm going to be getting rid of. Now, there's a couple things that you want to look out for when building your resonators. So depending on which resonator you are building, you're looking out for specific specific substats. Now here, I was really hoping for some crit damage for my Yin-Lin build, but I ended up getting more crit rate and resonant skill damage bonus. If only the HP was crit damage, this would have been one of the most perfect rolls of all time. However, I didn't think it was quite over yet tuning this Echo because there was still a good chance I could get some good substats. I follow a golden rule after leveling my Echo up to level 15 when rolling substats. If I get at least 2 substats out of the 3 rolls that I do, then that means I potentially have a good Echo on my hands. And that's when I feel like my resources are worth this Echo and I roll for more substats. Now upon doing so, I ended up with energy regeneration and HP. Not the best, but not the worst. I didn't want HP percentage, but I really wanted energy regeneration for my Yin-Lin build. So I ended up going 3 out of 5 on my substats, then 1 out of 2 on my main stats. Now yes, this Echo could have been a lot better and I could have been way more fortunate and got a better Echo. But at the same time, I could have wasted my rolls and it could have been a lot worse. But just like the summoning system and Wuthering Waves, rolling for your Echo substats and your Echo main stats is all a part of the risk when it comes to a gacha game. Now while farming Thunder in Memphis, I was also farming Tempest Memphis as well. I didn't really get so lucky on the first 3 substat rolls, so this is where I gave up. At first, I leveled up the Tempest Memphis to level 10 and ended up getting crit rate, flat attack, resonant skill damage bonus, and HP. So it was 1 out of 2 on my main stats and so far 1 out of 2 on my substats. When I rolled again, I ended up getting another substat that I didn't really like so much. And upon getting this, I gave up on this Echo because I know I could do better and farm better for my Yin-Lin. Because I'm gonna be real with you guys, heavy attack bonus wasn't gonna work with my Yin-Lin and how her kit works. And the fact that when I'm finished building my main DPS, Yin-Lin's gonna spend less time on the field. So maybe I could have squeezed by if this is my Havoc Rover and I was looking to deal more heavy attack damage bonus. But for Yin-Lin, this is a no-go. Well, that's all I have for today, guys. If you are new, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below so you can find your way back to my channel. And comment down below something you learned or something you could teach somebody else who's looking for some help. And again, make sure you join my community Discord for Wuthering Waves discussions and other gacha games and a whole bunch of fun. That's it for now. Peace!